It's time to step into the Coming Out Lounge, a cool, safe space to be true to your sexual self. With your host, Rick Clemons. Rick has helped hundreds of people come out of the closet, and now each week he's bringing you cool insights for loving and accepting yourself, boosting your self-confidence, and living a guilt-free, purpose-filled life on the other side of the closet doors. Cuddle up with yourself and get ready for heartwarming coming out stories, ideas for living authentically, and tips for being fully self-expressed. Now here's your host, Coming Out Coach Rick.
Hey, Closet Busters. It's time once again for you to step out, step up, and step into living your powerful truth. Yes, we are back with another episode of the Coming Out Lounge. In fact, I want to welcome you to the 101st episode of the Coming Out Lounge and to the very first bi-weekly episode. Yep, we're going to twice a week. And that came about with the milestone celebration just 2 days ago of our 100th episode. So we decided when the 100th episode came around that we were going to launch a twice-a-week format, and that starts today. Now, you may be asking, well, why did we do this? Well, there's lots of reasons, but truth be told, we have some really amazing guests that if we kept up pace with interviewing them and everything, we would be booked out with guests clear until the middle of 2017. And quite honestly, I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of keep things current and make things happening in the moment. So we've gone to twice a week. We're slowing down our production schedule so that we can be just a couple of weeks ahead of schedule because, as many of you know, we pre-record. And I wanted to make sure that we get things in timely manner. So that's kind of the first reason for the new format. The second thing is, well, we've been getting requests for what I call learning episodes. You know, shows focused on how to come out, maybe how to have the difficult conversations of things that you're going through, whether you're coming out of a relationship or whether you're coming out of the closet to say, hey, I'm gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. And we've even had some requests on how do you have the confidence and the courage to do some of these things that you do in life to really come out and be who you're meant to be. So we committed, because that's one of the things that we do when we come out of the closet. We commit to something, and we've committed to delivering more shows to you. We want to bring you some learning shows. So every once in a while, there'll be a learning show. Now, we do a lot of storytelling and finding cool ways to parallel people's journeys through their coming out processes, but sometimes you just need to stop and say, hey, here's some advice, and I'm going to give this advice to you. I'm going to give you some examples of stuff that have worked for other people, and then let you go off and see how that fits for you. And finally, we also realize that, everybody's hiding and coming out of something. Yeah, us LGBTQ people, we're not the only ones that own that market of coming out. In fact, from my perspective as the coming out coach and doing the work that I do, what I found is, man, there's a lot of people coming out. Everyone's on a coming out journey. And the sooner that we can all embrace this coming out lingo and teach others how to come out of the closets of their lives, the sooner we can really, truly build some bridges of unity for, accepting each other exactly where we are and for who we are as individuals. So starting today, you're going to be getting a double dose of the Coming Out Lounge each week. We're going to keep our regular Wednesday release date. So if you've subscribed, you're going to get those. And of course, if you're subscribed, now you're going to get the second episode. And that second episode is going to release on Fridays. So you might be asking, well, what's going to be going on with that Friday show then? Well, that's a really great question. We're going to try to mix things up, and we're going to still have some interview style shows like you're used to. And then every once in a while, maybe even every week, but probably more like every other week or 2 or 3 times during the month, you're going to get me, just me, coming out Coach Rick. I'm going to be flying solo, and I'm going to be delivering commentaries and riffs and little funny ditties from time to time, and that's what you're going to get. So how's that sound? Sound good? Well, I can't hear you, but of course this is being recorded, and it's going to play on Friday, which is today. I'm actually recording this on Thursday, so I'll even give you the little timeline. It is Thursday, September the 8th. I'm recording this on the afternoon here, about 1 o'clock Pacific time, and it's going to play for you on Friday as soon as you decide to listen to it. So But I assume going to this format is going to be all good for all of you. Now, the formats on some shows like this one are going to be much shorter than the 30 to 40 minute segments that we do when we do interview style shows. So here's how this is going to work. When you see an episode that is entitled Truthtini, so it may say, episode 101, but then it's going to say Truthtini, so like Truth, T-I-N-I, you'll know that those episodes are where I'm flying solo across the airwaves and into your earpods. Now, speaking of riffs, I just have to go off on one of my favorite technology companies right now, Apple. I love you to death. I've got my Mac, I've got my iPhone, haven't gone to the iWatch yet, but I do love everything Apple until today. I'm sorry, the iPhone 7 that's coming out and being released with the wireless earbuds that cost $159, not a cool coming out story, Apple. I mean, I get technology's moving forward and everything, but I don't know. I love my little wired earpods, so I'm just putting it out there. Maybe you need to come out with a new coming out product. Yeah, I'm calling it a coming out product because you come out with these earbuds. Not everybody's going to be able to afford a $159 price tag. But anyway, I'm done. There's my riff. Ouch, $159. But enough about that. So back to Truthtinis. So these are little shaken, not stirred episodes that are going to be packed with what I hope to be wisdom and truths to help you find the path to coming out to be, coming out to be you, the real you. Now, sometimes these Truthtini's, they may be about coming out in your sexual orientation. Other times they may be coming out to say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Other times they may be admitting, I'm an alcoholic. I need to come out about this and share what my journey's been like coming out of the closet of alcoholism and addiction. Every time we do a Truthtini, it's going to be around teaching and helping people get really in touch with their human yearnings to be accepted, and maybe learning to build confidence, and maybe even learning to be curious about, what if? Yeah, we go down the paths of what ifs and explore what if I actually allowed myself to come out and be exactly who I am. So that's what we got in store for you. The Truthtini's are going to be pretty much regularly on Fridays, but we might shake things up. And other than that, you'll get your regularly scheduled programming with awesome interview guests. In fact, in the coming weeks, we've got Hal Sparks from Queer as Folk and Lab Rats fame. We got Andrew Christian, that fashion designer who designs those sexy underwear for men and has some of the hottest models on the planet. And then a new friend I just made, Jackie Huba, and she's an author, and she's got a great book coming out that I'm just going to say, check her out. I'm not going to tell you the name of the book because I don't want to tease you too much with that one, but you really got to go check it out. Yeah, it's really cool. She's a really great gal. And then we've got a lot of really cool people coming on the show that I've met in my travels and that are in my circles of people who are just really making substantial impact in the world and helping people be the people they are meant to be in the world. So, I don't know, I think I've covered all that, and I want to get to today's Truthtini. Yep, it's time to talk about it. So, today's Truthtini is entitled Rejection Happens. Now, if you've been a listener of the Coming Out Lounge, you probably heard me talk throughout all the 100 episodes. Now, the 101st episode, we're talking about it yet again, about some contentious relationships I've had with people in my life as I came out of the closet to be a gay man. And it wasn't until I got ready to record this episode that I realized that even those relationships were contentious because I chose to be an entrepreneur. And it wasn't until recently when I took a really big stand and decided that I really wanted to focus my business, my career, what I'm doing right now, on speaking and podcasting and getting out there on some stages and sharing stories and teaching people. I didn't realize how much not only my gay life was affecting these people, but my life is doing what I want to do. And I don't want to put words in their mouths because doing what I want to do is probably a very small portion of the story I'm about to tell you. But doing what I want to do as a speaker became the pivotal piece of the story that has caused me to experience rejection in a way that I finally had to say, I'm done. At least done for now. I was asked to do a TEDx talk a few months ago. Actually, it's probably been 2 months ago. It was in July of this year. And I happened to be going to Tokyo to do that TEDx. Now, if you don't know what TEDx is, I invite you to just Google TEDx. But they're really beautiful, small vignette speeches that people do on any number of subjects. And I was really thrilled because this was kind of it is a big deal. I'm not going to even say kind of. It is a big deal to get to do a TEDx. Even bigger deal to eventually get to do a TED Talk. But as I got the opportunity to do this, I really struggled with it. And it happened to be at a time when I was already struggling in the relationship with the people I'm about to tell you who they are, my parents. And we'd had a contention over something else. And I'd already decided not to communicate with my father. And I'm not going to give you the whole details, but just suffice it to say that he said some very abusive things to me, and I said, okay, I'm done. And it happened to be Father's Day weekend, and I had messaged my mom to let her know that I was going to Tokyo. And long story short, she kind of was shocked and everything by what I was doing. And then the questions started coming, why was I doing it? Why was I going, etc.? And love them to death. They don't really get what I do. They don't understand that, no, I'm not just this gay coming out coach. I help people really come out of things in their lives that they're struggling with. It's not just the sexual orientation piece. So as the conversations kind of went back and forth via text, which is never the best way to have a conversation because you don't know what the insinuations and the, tone and everything is really, you're kind of assuming what the tone is. It basically got down to finally having a conversation, and really I could tell there was some assumption of what I was going to go do in Tokyo. The underlying assumption, which I was reading into it, which I don't recommend you do, but I was reading into it was, they're sitting there thinking, he's going off to go do his gay thing. 2 days later, I arrive in Tokyo. I let my mother know that I'm there. And then I got a really unusual message about my book, Frankly, My Dear, I'm Gay. For whatever reason, she had finally decided to go find the book. I had never really talked to her about it because I knew that it would probably not set well with her and my father. And the message I got was very passive-aggressive. It was, read your book, kind of intrigued by what you've done, not sure how you have the courage to do what you do, hope it all works out for you. Now, that's kind of the Cliff Notes version of it, but when I got that, my defenses immediately went up because I felt the passive-aggressive stuff in there. But sent the email to my husband, shared it with him, and he said I was reading too much into it. But then I realized I wasn't. Because after I shared my thanks for reading the book and everything, I got a secondary message. And the gist of it was basically, it doesn't matter what anybody says to you, you don't understand what you're doing with your life. You don't understand the destiny you placed yourself on. Now, as soon as I heard the destiny word, I knew we were going into the arena of faith and religion around homosexuality. And the rest of the message basically said the doom and gloom of what you're creating is not something that someone would have that has a relationship with Christ. That doom and gloom that you've set yourself up for is only for those who place themselves above God's words. In that moment, I realized the rejection was once again flaring its ugly, hypocritical head. And I've had too many conversations along these lines. And I realized I was done. As hard as it is to be done with people that especially the people who brought you to life. Sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes you got to walk away for your own sanity. Other times you got to walk away just to make the point. Now, I'm not saying this is what everyone needs to do. I'm just sharing my story. And here's what walking away has done for me. It's created pain, but bearable pain. It's also created peace of mind, energy, ability to move through life, to be proud of what it is I'm creating. It's given me the opportunity to be excited about what I get to go out and do in the world. I don't feel like I have this heavy laden burden on my shoulders any longer. The approval from mom and dad is no longer there because I realized in that moment, no matter what I do, my being their gay son will always be the crux of the problem for them. In that moment, I also realized I talk a lot about fear and I work with people around their fears all the time. What I then realized in my own journey at that moment was fear is only about the other person. When you have fear yourself, there's something about you. Whatever's going on for my parents around my gay lifestyle, which I hate to say because it's not a lifestyle, it is who I am. But whatever's going on for them about me being gay isn't about them. It's not about me. There's some fear that has come up that this in some way is going to make them worse parents. I could make assumptions about what's going on. It could be that their fear that they're not going to, make it to heaven because their child is gay. It could be their fear of losing me forever. And unfortunately, right now, they have lost me to a degree. I've had very little interactions with them since this has gone down. And I hate to be that way. And that's one of the things that it has brought into my life is it's put me in a space of, I don't like that this is where I'm at, but right now, this is in my best interest. And that's why I wanted to do this as the first Truthtini episode, was because I wanted you to feel the truth of sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes you've got to take care of you so that you can be better at being you in the world. The more we try to live and please others, the less we get the opportunity to be who we're meant to be. So as I've gone through this journey with my parents for years and years and years, there's several things that I've learned, and I'd like to share these things with you, and hopefully in some way they will help you. Again, I'm not advocating that you turn people out of your life. I hope my parents aren't out of my life for forever, but for right now, they are. They're out of my life for the time being because I can no longer endure the emotional abuse of the words they deliver to me. They're good people, don't get me wrong. They are good people at their core. They just have a really hard time because of their own fears, whatever those fears are. Now, I can't go fix those fears for them. They're the ones who need to fix those fears. But as I said, here are some of the things that I've learned as I've gone on this journey with my parents. And it took me a long time to learn some of these things, but I want to share them with you. Number one, everyone deserves to speak, and everyone deserves to get heard. No matter what the contentions are, everybody has those rights. Number two, your beliefs are your beliefs, so honor them. But that doesn't mean the other person has to honor your same belief system. Number three, when you say words like, I understand, well, understand only goes skin deep. Number four, unconditional love does not come with conditions. Every time I hear, oh, I love you unconditionally, but, no, there is no but in unconditional love. Number five is space and time to process is really, truly a gift. You got to give your family, your friends, everyone time to process whatever it is that you're coming out of, because you had to have time and space to process as well. Whether it's coming out of the closet to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, or it's coming out of the closet to say, no, I don't want to go to Harvard, I want to go to art school. Or no, I don't want to college, I want to go and be who I'm meant to be in the world in some other way. whatever those things are, you got to give people space and time to really embrace it, just like you've been given space and time to be who you're meant to be. Number 6, badgering gets no one anywhere. No matter how you stand up and what you want to do, badgering is not the way to get there. Number 7 is patience is a two-way street, but only if both drivers are on that road. It gets really exhausting for you to be patient, but when both people are trying to be patient and understanding, you're going to find that it's much easier. And when you don't exercise patience back in return, you're going to find it's much harder to get patience back in return to you. Number 8, fears are love and concern, most often masked behind I'm feeling out of control, so help me. When somebody's fears show up, they feel completely out of control. And what they're crying for is some help. Whether that help is understanding or whether that help is, help me get a better bearing on what's really going on. Most of the time it's coming from a place of I feel out of control and I need help understanding what's going on. Number 9 is it's okay to agree to disagree, and that's fine. And sometimes, which is kind of where I am right now with my parents, in a really deep well of agreeing to disagree, sometimes you got to go take that stance. But realize as you take that stance, do it from a place of love. And finally, and this one was a quote I saw come through my Facebook feed, and it just felt so right. And ironically, it came through my Facebook feed not long after all this unfolded with my parents. And the quote is this: God removes people out of your life to protect you. Don't run after them. Again, God removes people out of your life to protect you. Don't run after them. And that's from the Devout Christian. So as you think about rejection and where you are and where you may be in your journey, whether it's rejection around your sexual orientation or your rejection around someone you may want to be in a relationship with that your family's not accepting, or maybe it's the rejection of you want to leave corporate America and you want to go out on your own and people all around you are rejecting that idea. I just want you to remember that when you feel rejected, that's all about you. But when someone rejects you, it's all about them. You get to control your own feelings. And speaking of rejection, I want to give a huge shout out today to one of my favorite authors, Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love, and Big Magic fame. Just a couple of days ago, on September 7th, she posted on her Facebook about a secret she'd been hiding. That secret was that she was in love. And no, it wasn't with Felipe, the guy that was her heart's desire and Eat, Pray, Love. No, that wasn't it. But she's in love with her best friend, Raya Elias. She's in a same-sex relationship, and she's taking a stand to truly be herself. It's one of the most provocative things that she's truly told about herself. And as I was reading through her posting and then seeing some of the news articles that were coming out around this, I wanted to share one of the most provocative things that she has said in many of the statements she's made, because I think it just really applies to what we're talking about today about rejection happens. And here's what she had to say. Sure, I could pretend that Raya is still just my best friend, but that would be, pretending. Pretending is demeaning and it makes you weak and confused. And it's also a lot of work. I don't do that kind of work anymore. Elizabeth Gilbert. So my question to you is, as you let those words sink in, pretending is demeaning and it makes you weak and confused, and it's also a lot of work. As you allow those words to play over your mind, I know I say amen to that. So let me ask you, do you want to do that kind of work anymore in your life? Is that work of pretending worth it? And if not, then maybe this final mantra that I'm going to share with you will help you make that decision that it's no longer worth that work. And here's the mantra. The truth of who you are is more important than the false truth of pretending to be someone you're not. And with that, we're going to wrap it up for our second episode of the week as we move to 2 episodes a week format of the Coming Out Lounge. My name is Rick Clemons, the Coming Out Coach, and I so appreciate each and every one of you being a part of this journey with me and continuing to share and download and be a part of the Coming Out Lounge community. And I hope that if this really has meant something to you, that this show particularly has struck a chord with you, that you would share it with someone you know, that you would rate or review. If you've never rated or reviewed, maybe this is the show that you go, yes, I'm ready to, go to iTunes or Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you are, and give the Coming Out Lounge a really awesome review, if it feels like the right thing for you to do. We would love that. And we also love you. And I just want to say thanks for being part of this and helping me continue to step out, step up, and step into living my powerful truth each and every week on the Coming Out Lounge. I'm Rick Clemons, the Coming Out Coach, and we'll catch you in just a few more days. Take care, everyone.
You've just experienced the Coming Out Lounge. Go online to www.comingoutlounge.com to learn more, and tune in again next week for more stories and tips for being true to yourself.